Good morning, everybody. Now, in the present session, I am going to introduce Plato's idealism. I have already explained in the introductory lecture that Plato answers the fundamental question of metaphysics: what is the ultimate reality? And there he said that idea is the ultimate reality. So, the metaphysical theory of Plato becomes that of idealism. Now, in order to understand the whole idealism of Plato, I am just going to present before you its outline. Plato's idealism. First, introduction. Second age, meaning of idea. Third age, features of idea. Fourth age, hierarchy of ideas. Fifth age, idea and thing. Sixth age, Allegory of Cain. Seventh age, the aim of idealism. Eighth age, comments. Ninth age, your stand. See, the whole idealistic theory of Plato can be understood under these heads. The first is introduction. So, Plato answers the metaphysical question of ultimate reality, and he said that idea is the ultimate reality. The main aim and objective of his theory of idealism is to explain the world, is to prove and show how idea is the cause of things and beings of the world. Now, this theory of Plato, although he was influenced by other thinkers, but in the formulation of this theory, the full credit will go to Plato. Now, after just giving this introduction of this theory of idealism, I shall draw your attention towards the second, that is meaning of idea. Plato says that idea is a common quality of all members of a class. For example, manliness is a common quality of all men of the class man. So manliness is an idea. He also said that idea is a mold, a shaper and a sizer, because he said that when manliness gives shape to a living being, to a man, then it functions like a mold, a shaper, a sizer. So, this is the meaning of the word idea in Platonic philosophy. Now, features of idea. The first feature of idea is that idea is a substance because it is a reality. Always remember that the word substance is used in philosophy as ultimate reality, as ultimate truth. So, Plato says that idea is a substance. Second feature, idea is non-temporal and non-spatial because it does not exist in time and space. Manliness, all of you know, does not occupy a space. It does not exist in a space, nor does it exist in time. It remains the same forever. So this is the second feature of idea. The third feature of idea is that it is unity in multiplicity. Idea is one, whereas things are many. Example, manliness is one, but men are many in number. So manliness is the unity of many men of the class man. So it is a unity in multiplicity. Next, idea according to Plato is immutable, unchangeable. It never changes. It does not develop. It neither takes birth, nor it grows, nor it dies. This is the character of the idea which is the ultimate reality. Then next, idea according to Plato is independent of things and beings of the world. Look what Plato wants to communicate to you. He says that idea is independent of things and beings of the world. He never says that idea is inside thing or beings of the world. For example, he will not tell you that manliness is inside man. Reason? The reason is very clear, as I have explained in the first lecture, that idea is just a shaper, sizer. So it will only shape a living being in the form of a man, but it will not enter into man. As I gave you the example of injection molding machine, that what is the function of a mold or shaper or sizer? What it does? It simply gives the shape of the chemical which enters into this mold. But the mold never enters into the bucket. It simply gives the shape of that chemical. Similar is the case here with the idea. Idea of manliness will give the shape of living being as a man. So man is produced. This is the meaning when it is said that idea is independent of thing, a part of thing and beings of the world. Then next is that according to Plato, ideas are many in number. What does it mean? This means simple, that as there are things and beings of the world, so there are ideas. So there are ideas. And example, that even he will tell you that even there is the idea of dirt. We call it dirtiness, chairness, tableness, funness, treeness, everything. So there are as many ideas as there are things and beings of the world. Next, this idea, according to Plato, these ideas live in the world of ideas. So what Plato is doing? Plato is going to form another world, the world of ideas. They exist in the world of ideas. This is what Plato is trying to tell with regard to the status and the locus of ideas. And then next, Plato said that ideas are known by reason. Ideas are not perceived. We cannot perceive manliness. We can perceive man, but we cannot perceive manliness. So ideas are not perceived. They are known by reason. They are known by reason. So Plato said that Plato here in his philosophy is incorporating the epistemological theory of rationalism. He says that ideas are known by reason. So we find that these are some important features of idea, which is the ultimate reality. Then let us come and see hierarchy of ideas. Now what Plato has done, Plato has placed all ideas in a hierarchy. And hierarchy is like this. Idea of goodness. Then there comes, beingness. Then there comes thingness. Then in beingness there will come manness, cowness, etc. In things there will come chairness, tableness, etc. This is the hierarchy. And the important thing which you have to remember is that this hierarchy of ideas is based on the comprehensiveness of ideas. What does it mean? This means that an idea which is most comprehensive will be placed at the top, and the ideas which are least comprehensive, they will be placed at bottom. So what he said, that this manliness is the least comprehensive idea. Reason? Because manliness covers only human beings. Similarly, cowness covers only cows. But beingness is more comprehensive. Comprehensive means wider. More comprehensive than manliness and cowness. Because beingness will cover all living beings of the world. So, Plato said that in hierarchy, this beingness is more comprehensive than manliness and cowness. Similarly, the case with chairness. This chairness will cover only chairs of the world. Tableness will cover only tables of the world. But thingness will cover all physical objects of the world. So definitely thingness is more comprehensive than chairness and tableness. And then he said that idea of goodness, idea of good, that is the most comprehensive idea. Reason? The reason is very simple. That he said that we use the word good for things as well as for beings. We call a man good, we call a horse good, we call a cow good, and we also call a table good, a house good. So the word good is used for both things and beings of the world. This is the reason that this goodness is the most comprehensive idea, and this is the reason that this idea is placed at the top of the hierarchy. So this is all about the hierarchy of ideas that we find and get. Now come and see the idea and thing, the relation between idea and thing. Now what this Plato said, that the relation between idea and thing is this. He said that things and beings of the world are copies and shadows of ideas. See what Plato is telling. That man is a copy of manliness. Table is a copy of tableness. This is the idea that is given by Plato. They are the copies, they are the shadows. So Plato said that things and beings are mere appearances, shadows and copies, and ideas are the only realities. That is what he said. And then Plato also introduces one more concept of, say, participation. Participation in order to explain the relation between idea and thing. What Plato said, that a thing is real only to the extent that it participates in the idea of that thing. That is, a man is real only to the extent that man participates in the idea of manliness. This is the another kind of relation that Plato had introduced in his philosophy in order to explain the relation between idea and thing. Then he talks about allegory of Cain. It's very important simile that Plato had introduced in his book, The Republic. In this book, Plato had introduced allegory of Cain. Now, what is this allegory? This allegory is the allegory of a cave where a prisoner, a person who is standing on the gate of the cave. His hands, legs, body, head, all are fully chained. It is so chained that he cannot turn back. He has to see only his own shadow, which falls on the inner side wall of the cave. So Plato says that this chained man is perceiving all the while the reflection or the shadow of his own body. And so he starts thinking that this is the reality. This shadow is the reality. But he said that when in man a curiosity takes place to know as to what is behind him, then that prisoner, that person starts losing his chains, and he breaks the chains and he turns back. When he turns back, then he perceives the shining sun. First, his eyes get dazzled, but sooner he adjusts with the light of the sun, and then he realizes that what he was perceiving all along, that was just the shadow of his body. The reality is the sun. The reality is the sun. So this is the simile that Plato is presenting to explain the relation between appearance and reality. So what Plato said, that similar is the case with we human beings. We perceive things and beings of the world, which are simply shadows, but we start thinking that they are the realities. But when a curiosity comes in our mind to know as to is it the case, are they the reals or something else is real, then just because of this curiosity, we start thinking about the ultimate reality. And then we find, says Plato, then we find that we are not realities. We are only copies and shadows. Realities are ideas. So Plato said that through this simile of Allegory of Cain, what he tries to explain, that this world, things and beings of the world, are mere shadows and copies, whereas ideas are the realities. So, on the basis of Allegory of Cain, what he does, what Plato does, he tries to explain the difference between appearance and reality. Now, come to the aim of idealism. Now, the aim of idealism is that just to explain the world. And here, Plato says that the world can be explained on the basis of idea. As I have already discussed, that unless there is manliness, we cannot call a living being a man. So this manliness becomes the cause of man. So it is in this sense that he says that manliness explains the man. So this is similar in the case with other ideas of other things and beings in the world. All these ideas go on explaining the things and beings of the world. So this is the aim of this theory, idealism. Then let us move to comments. It's very important part of answering a question. Now this comment had three parts. Understand? Three parts. What you are required to do, that in one part you have to refer to some such a thinker who has commented on Plato's idealism. So the disciple of Plato, Aristotle, he had given 7 criticisms against Platonic idealism. 7 criticisms. And these 7 criticisms can be clubbed into 2. Number 1, Aristotle argued that Plato's ideas are unchangeable. So how something which is unchangeable can be the cause of things and beings of the world which keep on changing? So this is the first comment that Aristotle gives against Platonic theory of ideas. And then Aristotle says that Plato's idea cannot explain the world. The second comment that Aristotle gives against Platonic theory of idea is, he says that Plato holds that things and beings are copies of ideas. Aristotle asks how there can be a copy or shadow of idea which is an abstract entity. It is not something which is concrete one. There can be shadow of a man, but there cannot be shadow of manliness, because that is abstract. So the view of Plato that things and beings are shadows and copies of ideas is not acceptable to Aristotle. He says it's not possible. We cannot have the copies and shadows of ideas which are abstract. So this is the second comment is given by Aristotle against Platonic theory of ideas. So what Plato comes to prove? Plato comes to prove that Platonic theory of idea does not explain the world. This is the comment. Look, this is the comment given by Aristotle against Platonic theory of idea. Now, this is the first step of the comment. Listen very carefully. This is the first step of the comment that you have to write in your answer. And the second step will be that you will speak and evaluate what Aristotle has said. Are you getting my point? What you have to do, that you have to evaluate, examine the view of Aristotle against this Plato. So you will tell that just Aristotle is criticizing Plato on the ground that ideas are motionless, unchangeable. So how ideas can be the cause of things and beings which are changing? This is the comment that Aristotle has given. Now you will reply Aristotle that what you are doing in your philosophy. Aristotle in his philosophy has said that God is the highest substance and God is static, unchangeable, and he is the cause of things and beings of the world. So Aristotle is criticizing Plato on the point which he himself had accepted in his own philosophy. So we can say that Aristotle's comment on Platonic theory of idea does not seem to be conclusive. So this will be a remark that he will be giving against Aristotle's view on Platonic theory of idea. And then this is the second stage of the comment, remember. And then the third stage will be, he will be telling that in fact, this way you have to move. In fact, the real mistake of Plato's theory of idea lies somewhere else. And there you are in the picture. So always think that you have to behave like an IAS. You have to take everything under your control now. What Aristotle has said, you have rejected. Now you have come in the picture directly. And now you are talking, speaking against Plato's theory of idea. See what you are saying. You are saying that the mistake of theory of ideas lies somewhere else. What is the mistake? The mistake is that we can point out that Plato's theory of idea does not explain the world. This will be our comment on theory of idea. Then how we have to justify it? That's the important thing. So what you will say that when we say that A explains B, when we say that A explains B, then A can explain B only when A fulfills two conditions. The first condition is, number one, that A must be necessary for B. This is the first condition that A has to fulfill if A explains B. And the second condition is that A is rational. A has to be rational. Look, these are the two conditions in presence of which A can claim to explain B. Now, so far as theory of ideas are concerned, what happens here? Now, ideas are not necessary for things and beings of the world. First, you know, what is the meaning of being necessary? It means that if we deny A can be necessary only when if we deny A, then B is automatically denied. This is the meaning of necessary. For example, the moon is necessary for moonlit night, because if we deny moon, the moonlit night is automatically denied. So this is the meaning of necessary. Now the question is, that it does this sort of relation hold between ideas and the world. Suppose we deny the world of ideas, what difference it makes to the world? The world exists. So what Plato has done, he has never shown a logical relation between ideas and the world. That was the mistake that Plato did. So we can say that ideas are not necessary for the world. Now, so far as the second condition is concerned, we can say that yes, ideas are rational, and the reason is that ideas are known by reason. Already Plato has said earlier that ideas are not known by perception, rather ideas are known by reason. So ideas become rational. So what we find that ideas fulfill the second condition of explanation. This what ideas fulfill. But what we find? We find that ideas, the first condition is indispensable. Since the first condition is indispensable, that is, ideas have to become necessary for the world, that's why we can hold and show and prove that ideas cannot explain the world. Because in order to explain, ideas have to be proved to be necessary for the world. So, this will be your comment against this Plato directly. So, what you have done? You have first referred to Aristotle's comments against Platonic ideas, and then you have rejected Aristotle's comment, and then you have come to give your own comment that here lies the mistake of Platonic ideas. So what you find here that Plato had not satisfactorily shown that how ideas can explain the world. But this does not mean that Plato's philosophy is redundant. No, we cannot say so. The reason is this, that yes, this is true that Plato's idealism is not going to explain the world, but it is not redundant because Plato's philosophy has some historical significance. What is that historical significance? The point is that all philosophers who came after Plato, they used to use the ideas of Plato in the formation of their own theories. This is very important thing that you will find. And that's why it is said that the entire Western philosophy which comes after Plato consists of the footnote of Platonic philosophy. This statement has given by a thinker, Whitehead. Whitehead has given this sentence, not down, unless what Whitehead has said, that the entire Western philosophy consists of the footnotes of Platonic philosophy. What does it mean? This means that all other philosophers who came after Plato, they have discussed only those issues which have been raised by Plato in his own philosophy. For example, this Bradley, who came after Plato, Bradley had written a book, Appearance and Reality, and there he has given the reference to Plato's philosophy. So this idea of Plato that there is a difference between appearance and reality has been also explained by other philosophers. Similarly, many ethicists talk about the goodness, rightness, wrongness, the issue which has been raised by Plato in his philosophy when he says that ideas are the highest idea is the idea of God. He had also raised the issues like epistemological issues like rationalism and empiricism. So other philosophers like Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz deal with the issues of epistemology, and they say that reason is the source of knowledge. So what is the important thing that you have to understand? That philosophers who came after Plato, they used to use Platonic philosophy here and there. So it is on account of this that you can say that Platonic philosophy had its historical significance. So this is all about the theory of ideas given by Plato. Now, a question was raised. There are some questions which have been raised in previous years, and there some question is asked as to what is the relation between belief and knowledge according to Plato. So what this Plato has done, Plato had just Plato had introduced simile of divided lines, and there he has classified, this is something related to the theory of idea but also independent topic. The first he says conjecture, then second he says belief, third he says discursive reasoning, and the fourth he says rational insight. What he does, he classified knowledge into four through simile of divided lines. And the conjecture, he simply said those illusions, they come under conjecture, saying a rope as a snake. Then this belief, the word belief refers to the perceptual knowledge. We perceive, Plato says we perceive rivers, forests. So this is called perceptual knowledge. And then discursive reasoning, like the knowledge of different symbols, notations, signs which are used in mathematics and other subjects. And this rational insight, he says, reason, that thinking, intellect. So this knowledge through reason, that is the fourth kind of knowledge he explains. Now the important point is here to understand that what Plato says, that belief represents perceptual knowledge, and Plato says that the real knowledge is the knowledge of ideas, and rest kind of knowledge is not a real knowledge. So what he says, that this rational insight, the fourth one, that is the real knowledge, because it is through this rational insight that one knows the nature of ideas. One understands what is idea. So he says that this rational insight, that is a real knowledge, but this belief which represents perception, that is not a real knowledge. So when the question was asked, what is the relation between belief and this rational insight or the real knowledge, then you will have to say that belief is not a real knowledge, by telling that belief represents perceptual knowledge. And so there, what Plato does, he rejects perception as a source of knowledge on two grounds. The first is, he says that there cannot be a pure perceptual knowledge. When we say board is white, then it is not pure perceptual knowledge. Rather, it consists some other activities of reason. For example, first we distinguish this board from other things of this room, which is done by reason. Second, we categorize this board into the white boards. That is also the function of reason. And then we say this board is white. So what Plato says, that there cannot be a pure perceptual knowledge. So he rejects perception as a real knowledge. And the second argument he gives against this perceptual knowledge is, he says that perceptual knowledge is always subjective. What I perceive, that is true for me. What you perceive, that is true for you. What he perceives, that is true for him. So everybody's perception for him is true and right. I cannot say that your perception is wrong, nor you can say that his perception is wrong. So everybody's perception is right and everybody's perception is true. This becomes the result the time we accept perception as a source of knowledge. So what he says, that we cannot accept this perceptual knowledge as the real knowledge. So what he does, he rejects perceptual knowledge as real knowledge. And at the same time, Plato also rejects opinion as a real knowledge. What is an opinion? Opinion is a piece of information which is not based on any evidence. There are two kinds of opinions, right opinion and wrong opinion. Plato says that wrong opinion cannot be said to be a knowledge at all. Say, for example, I give the opinion that tomorrow it will rain. If you ask me, what is the basis? What is the evidence? I say, I don't have any evidence to justify it. This is just my opinion. So, and tomorrow it does not rain. Then what happens? My opinion becomes false, not true. So this cannot be said to be a knowledge. But suppose tomorrow it rains. Then in that case also, we cannot call that opinion to be right. That we cannot say that this is the knowledge. The reason was that even while telling that tomorrow it will rain, I was not in a position to give the evidence for this, the justification for this, that we didn't give. So even in this case, we cannot say that right opinion is a knowledge. So what Plato does, Plato, under the head of this belief, is rejecting both perceptual knowledge. He says that perception is not a real knowledge, and he also rejects that opinion, and he says that opinion is not a real knowledge. So now what he comes to, he says that the real knowledge is the knowledge of ideas. Real knowledge is not the knowledge of things and beings of the world. Real knowledge is the knowledge of ideas, which are realities, So it is on account of this that Plato makes a difference between knowledge and belief. This question was asked 2 years back in the Central Services examination, and there the part of the question was also there that does it lead to essentialism? This theory, does this theory lead to essentialism? Then your answer will be yes, because this distinction between knowledge and belief, what is knowledge? Knowledge is this, knowledge of the ideas. This is knowledge. So he said that this distinction of knowledge and belief is based on the metaphysical views. What is the metaphysical view? That idea is the reality. So here is the question that how do we know ideas? And the answer he gives that they are known by reason. So the real knowledge is the knowledge of idea, which is the reality. So the word essentialism means concerning reality, concerning ultimate truth. It comes out from essence. Essence means that sole reason of certain things. So you can answer that yes, this theory leads to essentialism. So this is the another aspect of Plato when he talks about simile of divided line. The first topic was that of Plato's idealism, and the other topic that he has discussed, this is simile of divided lines. These are two important things that he has discussed. And then the third one which Plato had discussed is that of what we call the third topic which he does is recollection of ideas. Recollection of ideas. Now, what is this? This recollection of ideas, what we find that Plato said that there are some ideas in we human beings, and we do not know the cause of these ideas. We cannot have the correct knowledge that where from these ideas have come in our mind. So what Plato says that these ideas are eternal ideas, and if their cause is not traced in our present life, then its cause must be in the past life. When a man died, then his soul carried over those ideas to the present life, and so a man carries those ideas in his mind. So what Plato is telling? Plato is telling that soul is immortal just on the basis of this, that we do have certain ideas in our mind which do not have their trace in this life, so they must have their trace in the past life. So this what Plato tries to explain in recollection of ideas, and on this basis he also claims to prove the immortality of soul. And Plato not only explains this thing just by explaining these ideas which are in our mind. Rather, Plato also demonstrates this truth, that how soul carries over certain ideas from the past life to the present life. Once Plato interviewed a child who was a prisoner, and Plato came to know that the child was answering some difficult questions of geometry. So Plato interviewed that child, and there he found that whatever difficult questions Plato put before him, he used to answer those difficult questions with no time. So the question was that how this happened. The child didn't have any training. He didn't have any training in school. He didn't know even ABC. What is ABC? And that boy is answering very difficult questions of this geometry. So what Plato explains on this basis, that might be that the child in his past life was a great geometrician. When he died, then the soul carried over that intelligence to this child, and that's why the child is answering all these difficult questions of geometry. So on this basis also, Plato claims to prove that soul is immortal. So these are three important topics that you have to study in Plato's philosophy. The first most important one is the theory of ideas. The second is simile of divided line. And the third, which I have explained just now, recollection of ideas. Now, you just note down certain assignments which I am going to give you. The first question: discuss the theory of ideas of Plato. Second question: what is the relation between knowledge and belief? Is this distinction based on essentialism? Third, how does Plato refute perception as a source of knowledge? Perception as a source of knowledge. Next, does Plato succeed in explaining the world? If yes, then what are the grounds? If no, then how? Now, these are certain questions which are on these topics. One more question you can note down, that what is the significance of the Allegory of Cain? Discuss. These are certain questions which you answer and send us. We will send you the feedback. That's all. Thank you.